Welcome everybody to the V19 4D V19 R4 feature release webinar. In this webinar, it's kind of our time to take time to talk about all of the new features in the latest feature release 19 R4 with the developer community. And let me just lay the ground rules before I start introductions. So what's going to happen today is I'm going to go through all of the features or all of the main features of 4D v19 R4. And at the end of in chapters, so developer news, deployments, deployment information, 4D Pro, etc. And at the end of those sections, I'm going to pause and answer the team, and we'll answer your questions that you have during the call. If you have any questions that come up at any time that you'd like us to respond to, please put them in the Q&A section and we'll answer them appropriately. Please note that the question that we'll be answering are questions that pertain to the V19 R4 webinar, not TAO cases or things like that. So please, let's keep it focused, and we're here to answer the questions about the current feature release. Now, I see some people have their first name or maybe last name only, or even a series of numbers as their Zoom name. If we do have a question that we're unable to respond to or we'd like to contact you to respond to you further, we ask that you please put your first and last name in your Zoom, so that way we know who we're talking to. It helps us. So if you can do that, that'd be great. And all right. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started with introductions. So with me today, I have two important people. Mathieu Ferry is the head of the product team. So he leads the team that makes all of the decisions about the product and works with the engineering team, the VP of product strategy, and all of the businesses around the 40 businesses around the world. And he helps define all of these new things that are going into the product. So it's great that he's here with you today, because he's the guy to ask your questions to, because he is someone that knows a lot about what's going on. And also with me, I have an important person named Shaima Elbiwi, and she is a 4D quality support engineer. So when you have your issues with 4D, she's the person that you call, and she's the person that gets you the answer. And here today, she's here to help me if there's anything I need help with answering. So thank you guys. Thank you both and me. I'm William Taylor. I am the technical account manager, and I head up the professional services division in the United States. And I just happened to be in France visiting family, and I thought it was a great opportunity to share this 4D, do this feature release webinar with you today. So without further ado, let's get started. And first, I'd like to talk about the developer news. So the news for you, for the developer, the news that you care about as a developer. Now, we've listened to your feature requests in the 4D forum and made several improvements to the 4D language, starting with statements that allow you to skip a block of code. The return keyword terminates execution of the method or function in which it appears and returns control to the calling method. It can also return an optional value. So now we have return in 4D, starting with 19R4. And the break keyword also exists in 4D v19R4, and this terminates the loop that contains it and goes to the following statement immediately after that part of the loop. And the continue statement ends the execution of the statements in the current iteration of loop and continues the execution of the loop in the next iteration. So now we have return, continue, and break. That's awesome. And now 4D also allows you a new way to do your simple arithmetic. Rather than writing A equals A plus 1, you can write A plus equals 1. Now, this may be something that you don't necessarily care about as you're a seasoned 4D developer, and you can always do your arithmetic the way you want to do it. This is particularly interesting for new developers coming to 4D, as this is a syntax that many developers are used to from many other languages. So help bridge the gap with the new developers. And also in R4, there is a new way to assign values to variables with ternary operators. Now, if we look at both code snippets, left and right, they're equivalent. But as you can see, the left is a little bit more concise. Now, since 40 v19 are, so now in 40 v19, because we're supporting ternary operators, something to note is that the colon is no longer allowed in variable, field, constant, function, plugin, or project names. Don't use a colon as a variable name in your application anymore. Otherwise, you will have issues. And I invite you to see the release notes and the changes and updates in v19r4 for more information about this. And 4D has also implemented a great idea in v19r4, short circuit evaluation. Now, this is using the double ampersand or double bar characters for and or respectively. So in an expression that uses these and or operators, a short circuit evaluation means that the second argument is executed or evaluated only if the first argument does not suffice to determine the value of the expression. For example, if we look at the first code block, if the length is greater than 0 and that ith value of the array is greater than 10, well, before both pieces of code would have been executed. But now, if the my call length is not greater than 0, the second argument will not be executed. So this makes the code simpler and more easy to read. And if you'd like to learn more about this, I invite you to read the documentation about this. It explains it in great detail on developer.4d.com. Great. That's it for the language, or just a few more things on the language. So another highly requested feature is now available to you. Sometimes you need to run a process in the background externally to 4D and perform certain actions based on the output code when the external process finishes. For example, you want to display a toolbar. With 4019R4, you can start an external background process with a new system worker class and automatically execute a callback method when the external process returns information. So if you use this with an interface, the interface remains responsive to your user while the external process is running. And when it finishes, you can show the client the result. Now, why is this cool? You could always launch external process in synchronous mode and block the command and block your code when it's called, or you could always launch it asynchronously when you didn't care about the result that was of the external process. But now you're able to launch it, continue your execution of your code, and come back to and bring the response back into your 4D application. So it's very cool. Oh, and here's a quick demo. So here we have a picture, and here we're using a SIP command, command line operation to convert the images, and you can see we're able to get the information, and we're able to actively and reactively use the UI even when the application is running. in the background processes running with the system worker. So super cool. So 4D v19R4 comes with a new order concept as well, aliases. Now, aliases are logical and a complementary continuation of calculated attributes. Now, as the name suggests, an alias is a shortcut to an existing data store object. And like computed attributes, they are defined in the entity data class. While a computed attribute can handle any computation or formula, an alias is simply a shortcut that makes development faster and easier. An example of using aliases is to easily access linked attributes, which means hiding the complexity of a linked database. So if we take this example here, people can be students or professors or both, and teach and learn languages. Lessons is the core data class that links both the teachers and the students and language. So here, for example, in our lessons entity data class, we are able to use maybe the professor name as professor.name. So that would be the professor name, using professor.name to traverse the links that you have. And a little bit more complicated, you can extend the people entity data class by using aliases as well. And for more, and here I'd like to pass the microphone to Mathieu to talk a little bit more about this new feature.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Will. I didn't want to let you do all the talking this morning alone. And I wanted to share with everyone a quick sum up about this particular feature. As William just commented, aliases are a kind of continuation of computed attributes, but the use cases are kind of different. Computed attributes, they were introduced in 19R3. They help you to concentrate your business logic in your code and in your classes. It makes also easier to organize and to reuse particular logics of your code. For example, a complex calculation, a tax computation, it will be written once and for all and reused wherever necessary in other part of your code or in the UI. An alias here is simpler. It's just a shortcut. It will be always faster to execute than a computed attribute, but it cannot perform any calculation. Just a shortcut, as I said. So you can use aliases to provide a simpler way to access related attributes or entities through several relation levels that are deep buried in your structure. It's a first usage. Aliases also can be very, very handy when you are about to refactor a database. So imagine you are splitting a big table into several distinct tables just to make it cleaner, or because it became a little bit complicated. At that moment, aliases can be used to mock the old big table and avoid too many impacts on the rest of your application. So you can divide the complexity of the work you have to do. It's important to remember that both notions, both concepts, computed attributes and aliases, they can return simple values, but they can also return an entity or an entity selection. It's very, very, very useful. Personally, since they were introduced, I use them almost every day. So I'm very eager to get your feedbacks and your comments about it in the forum or anywhere else. So, well, it's over. And if you have any question, please ask in the chat. Thank you.
Yeah, Thanks, Matthew. I appreciate it. Thanks for that insight, the product insight.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you do have any questions as we go through, please throw them in the Q&A and we'll definitely respond to them. This is all new stuff, so no bad question. Very cool. So now moving on. So classes were introduced with v18 R3. They allow you to organize your business logic and separate it from the user interface quickly. Now, classes consist of several functions of different length. Therefore, it is not always easy to find the function you're looking for or to hop around from one function to another. Now, it was always possible to use the Explorer that displays the classes and the functions and use that with the Explorer and your code editor, but you may not want to have them both open at the same time. So in 19R4, the list of functions in your class is displayed in the code editor toolbar, so you can quickly jump to a specific function. Super cool. And 19R4 takes comments to a new level with comment tags to better organize your comments. Now, tags are used to classify comments by simply placing the tag in the beginning of the comment line. We have provided 3 tags for you to use: mark, to do, and fix me. And these commands will help you stay more organized. We love them here at 4D and feel that you will too. Have a look at the blog post for some great use cases for tags, comment tags. And a wise man once said, if you make one mistake and don't correct it, you'll make another, or you'll make it again. To prevent this from happening to 4D developers, we have always built techniques in the code editor to help you avoid making mistakes. For example, auto-completion for classes has been available since 18R4. Now, this feature simplifies writing code and limits errors in function names, but it doesn't avoid them completely. It's easy to swap 2 letters or forget to capitalize something, and then you end up spending a lot of time trying to figure out why the code doesn't work. Total bummer. So what better way than to ask 4D to check the classes or check if the classes or functions exist before? Starting with 19R4, a warning is displayed in the code editor if you call a function that doesn't exist. Super cool. And we have something else that's new in the code editor. In addition to customizing the window and code area, 4D 19R4 offers 2 new customization options. Now you can show or hide those 10 keyboards that are at the top of your code editor, and you can show and hide the list icons now on the bottom right of the form, as you can see right there. So that we feel that that is, our designers felt like that was a better place for those things, and the functionality will greatly help your development. So that's it for development news. I saw that we had a couple questions. Let's get to them. Feel free to put your questions in the Q&A at any time.
I see one question in the Q&A.
Yeah. You want to take that one, Mathieu?
I can take. I think it's simple. I think in the alias example, the learning.language returns an object or entities or an entity selection. In fact, the alias returned value gets the type of the targeted attribute. If language is a number, well, the alias is a number. In fact, if it's a relation or an entity selection, it will return that. Is it possible to set by program a name for a relation? I don't know that one. Perhaps, not sure. Can get to this one for later. I
think you can do it from the from the X. So is it possible to set by programmatically a name for relation? I believe that you're able to do this if you are working, if you export your structure file in XML, and then you can then edit the XML. That's one way. Re-import it. But I think there's probably some other ways, some slicker ways, and I invite you to ask on the forums how people are doing it.
Yeah.
It's true that naming your relations in order is very important, and the time spent naming your relations correctly will pay off dividends later. So, super good question. There are ways, maybe not the easiest, but it's important.
In the code editor examples, yeah, remember them. Is it possible to use code to go to a marked comment? A problem where I inject a header to my methods and update whilst working, which currently causes the cursor to end up at the end of the code. I guess with a macro, you could do something like that. Not quite sure, but I guess.
Again, I think if we don't know, right, this good question, very
specific.
I invite you to put that question on the forum, the 4D forum, and the product owner will most likely get back to you on that. They can definitely do with that.
Yeah.
Someone asked, is an alias anything other than a textual shortcut which improves readability?
I don't exactly what's behind that question, but an alias is a shortcut. So anything other, I would say no. It's nothing more than a shortcut, a very, very handy shortcut.
It's a useful shortcut.
Yeah. It's not just improves readability. It can be a very useful tool to flatten a structure, for example, and to make it not only more readable, but also more usable.
And also, as you mentioned, it is a way to aid in the refactoring of an application.
Yeah.
So it's a shortcut that helps for many things along with readability.
Yeah.
Can we? Someone asked a follow-up question on that. Can it span multiple levels? So can it go ...
Yeah. You can go as deep as you want.
I don't know about that. Don't. There may be a limit somewhere. Don't go crazy. You don't want to have crazy data anyways.
Try the limit and give us feedback.
That's the limit.
Yeah.
Yes. So answer is yes, it can.
Yeah. The following question: can you define an alias in the structure editor? No. It's only in the code, and also it's like computed attributes. They don't appear in the structure editor, so you cannot define them there, and you cannot neither you can visualize them there. It's in the code.
So which new language features are only available in project mode? So
usually it's mentioned in the documentation or in the blog post. So I don't have a specific list here, but it's always specified. Of course, everything related to a class, but are there other restrictions for binary databases? Not specifically. By default, when we implement a new feature, we always try to have it in both modes. Sometimes it's not possible, or sometimes it's just too hard. But Yeah, it's
And sorry, well, and
Yeah.
actually, just for your information, the only mode available in v19 is the project mode. So all features basically are available in project mode from now on.
all features are in project mode. You can
All features are in project mode, yeah.
Yeah.
But binary mode is still available.
yeah. You can do binary in v19 if you unlock the settings. No problem with that. And basically, the biggest feature not available in binary mode is the native compilation for Silicon and classes. These are the two big things that are not available in binary.
But so good question. It would behoove you to move to project mode because that's where a 4D is going. That's where the main development is going in 4D.
Is it possible to create an entity selection from a set? I'm not sure to understand the question. Maybe William, you can help. From a set.
I think that's it's a little off topic.
From a from a collection, maybe. Yeah.
For me, it's off topic. So we're not going to answer it here. It doesn't pertain. I invite you to ask that question on the blog.
Yeah.
Or on the on the forum, discuss.40.com.
Yeah.
Oh, someone asked a question. Does Alias also work with SQL queries?
I will answer you back later about this one. I think no, but I'm not sure. So it's a good question for a little bit later. It's very older, the aliases.
So your account manager will respond to you back about this.
Best practice suggestion for relation naming. It's a little bit off topic as well.
I think this is a good plug. On one of the on-demand trainings is a training done by Olivier Deschanel, Take Care of the Query, I believe it's called. And in that, he goes over exactly the best practice for that. I don't have the time to go into it right now, but I invite you to go to the on-demand training on the 4D store and review Olivier Deschanel's training.
Yeah.
And he'll do it justice. I will not do it justice, and I will get a lot of calls about it. So, and then
I think the last question would be.
The last question is I invite you. So someone asked a question about a general something about 19R3. I invite you to review to raise that issue on TAL, and a tech support engineer will get back to you and help you with that.
I think we can proceed. The last quick question from Alexei. Just be patient. Just be patient.
Oh yeah. I'm not done yet.
Yeah. We are only half of the presentation. Okay.
Next, on to deployment news. So the new things in 4D that help you with your deployment. And again, thank you for those questions. They're all great. We love to answer. Keep them coming. Keep them flying. We'll try and respond to them as best as we can. And if not, we'll always get back to you on those questions. So you asked for it and we delivered. We now have 4K support in Windows. And this has been a feature in 4D for Mac for some time, but it was not possible in Windows until very recently. So now it's time for you guys to go out and get some massive 4K monitors to test it out. But remember, changing to 4K does require you to review and test your entire application to ensure it looks just as good in 4K as it did in your standard high definition monitor. So, and if you're having issues, please check out the blog for for some tips on how to make your application look the way that you need it to look. Or if you're still having issues, reach out to your tech support team and they'll help you out with that. So 4019R4 comes with a new command that provides all the information about your license usage. Get license usage, clever name. We have also extended this information to the diagnostics log. So thanks to this feature, you'll be able to track your license usage on your server, optimize your license usage, and plan ahead for future license needs. And sometimes users need multiple instances of your double-clickable application, but with different settings and connecting to different servers. Now, this can be difficult for a vertical market application that may have many clients that each connect to their own server. Now, in 4019R3, you can build your application once and then define which server your application will connect to. Now, if you're interested in this, and this deployment method pertains to you, I invite you to read the blog. And if you have further questions, reach out to your account manager, and we'd love to have a conversation with you. So that was it for deployment news, a lot. Any questions? Any more questions? Keep them coming. And again, you can ask questions about anything you have or anything from even before, even the language stuff. No worries. It doesn't have to only be deployment things. So someone asked, can you programmatically assign a license to a user?
Would be interesting to detail a little bit that kind of question, because I guess you do not. No, that's not the way licensing is working, at least in desktop mode. Licenses per connection, not user. So would be interesting to get the use case you want to reach on that.
Yeah. We may reach out to you for the use case about that, to have a kind of an offline discussion maybe. Okay, on to 40 for mobile news. So up until 40 v19R3, you could have all sorts of data in your 40 for mobile application: text, date, time, and integers. And 40 v19R4 brings another possibility: object attributes. Now, this allows you to display object fields in your mobile application in either human readable form or in JSON format. And object fields are used to store various data in your application, and now they're easy to use in your mobile application as well. This just means that you can create even more advanced iOS and Android apps. And with 40 v19R4, the data panel of the 40 for mobile editor has been improved to give you more information about the data you'll be packaging with your mobile application. For example, you get the exact number of entities and the data size for each data class to avoid getting too much data in your mobile application. Now, this enhancement also helps you to check the validity of your query by clicking the validate button. And you get a more visual feedback about the validation of your queries with error messages if your query isn't correct. Like this. Validate, boom, it worked. Can we generate? Great. Now, many improvements have been incorporated into 40 for Android with v19R4. Support for one-to-N links, online actions, and object field formatting. And the list goes on, as you can see here. Now, knowing that, if you have an idea for a project, please do not hesitate to contact your account manager. I know in the US, we are working with many developers on their project ideas, and we help them flesh out their ideas to make them work in such a way that that is easy to develop their application with 4D for mobile technology. So you have an idea to extend your business application? We're here to listen to you and we'll definitely help you do it as easily and simply as possible. So that's it for 4D for mobile news. Any questions? Let me pop open the Q&A if there are any questions. All right. So if anything comes up, feel free to pop it in the Q&A. I'm going to keep on going along with some 4D Write Pro news. So 4D v19r4 comes with new attributes to better define the layout of your tables in your 4D View Pro document. Now, this allows you to create beautiful 4D Write Pro documents with ease, especially those that contain complex tables in them. Now, if you're interested in this feature, I invite you to read the blog post. There was a great how do I that illustrates this functionality super well. It's a quick demo of what it is. Avoid the page breaks inside the table. You can set all sorts of, you can fine tune your table to what you need it to be and how you need it to display based on the text in the table. As you can see, there's a million options for you to play with. Very cool. And with 4D v19r4, 4D Write Pro has gone dark. Now you can develop and deliver in light and dark mode on Mac OS. And the latest widgets in the library are both dark and light mode compatible, which are the 4D Write interface toolbar, the user interface, and the sidebar rich text area. Please note, this is a Mac only feature, and there's currently no dark mode support in Windows. And to answer any future questions, there is not planned to be dark mode support in Windows unless a major need is there. So that's it for 4D Write Pro news. Any questions on anything that we've discussed so far?
I can quickly answer that. The question is it possible to insert signing certificate to the document when generating PDF? We are working on that. We started to review this topic to have something in Write Pro natively. I mean, I guess right now the only possibility is to do that post-processing.
Yeah, I do know. So signing, I guess when we say signing, is it signing like DocuSign or signing like? So I do know that we have in the US done projects for the creation of, from 4D Write Pro, the creation of, from 4D Write Pro templates, the creation of DocuSignable documents. And that is something, and we made an editor to do this using drag and drop features to create your DocuSign documents. So if your customer is asking for DocuSign in your 4D application, the professional services team does have something that works right now and is working in the field with a couple people. So if you want DocuSign, contact your account representative and we can do a demo for you. Trucking along with 4D View Pro news. So when you create a document with 4D View Pro, it is often necessary to optimize and fine-tune the user experience by hiding worksheet tabs or scroll bars, disabling the context menu, or or seeing how, or fine tuning your drag and drop. And all of these features and more are now possible with the View Pro Set Workbook Options command as a standard 4D command, not a spread.js command. The first one is you can set the tab strip. Here you have a 4D View Pro area, excuse me, and you can set the tab strip of visibility. So if you don't want if your end user doesn't need those tab strips, they don't get them anymore. Super easy. And you can also set the scroll bars. You have more ability to, you have more control to fine tune your scroll bar usage in your 4D View Pro document. Here you see you have your scroll bars, and you can either show them, not show them, hide them, or set the scroll bar to the max. So there you go. Super cool. And very important when you want your when you need your 4D View Pro document to look like you want it to look. And now setting background images and colors is now very simple in 4D, like in the following demo. You can add a background image, say you want 4D. You can move it around as you see fit. And in this gray area on the side, you can also set the color to make it not a gray area. You can set it to be light green or whatever you would like to do. And you can also set the background of the cells very easily. Very cool. And you are now able to control the column and row resizing in your 4D View Pro area, like in the following demo. So there are a few different ways to do row and column resizing using normal resizing, where it only grows the single column, or using split resizing, means that the column next to it will grow as the previous column changes. I didn't do it justice. A quick demo will make it a lot clearer. See, that's the normal resizing. See, B stays the same. And if you do split, B will grow as A is shrinking. And you can also do that with rows as well. You see, row 3 grows and shrinks as row 2 grows or shrinks and grows in the split mode. And there are also some cool new copy and paste options to fine tune your copy and pasting. You can set the border of your copied cells to a different color. And you can also extend the range of your paste in case you have a specifically defined 4D View Pro document size. Here we have an H by 20. And if you add more information, it'll grow with it. So here we'll just see a quick demo of how that works. See, it's green. I'll go red. Very cool. And then I'll show that it shows up throughout the document. And here we have that gray area. You see it's H by 20. Imagine if we have to paste in more information. So let's paste in a bunch of information. And as you can see, that paste allowed us to grow as needed the 4D Right Pro document to be I by 389. And I invite you to review the documentation, because I don't do it justice, but we'd be here all day. There are many more commands that are available and attributes that are available to help you fine tune your 4D View Pro document. And creating reports or spreadsheets from existing templates speeds up your development. Now, say you have some really sweet portions of a spreadsheet that you want to use in other 4D View Pro documents. Before this was possible, but you had to export your 4D View Pro document to an object, take what you wanted from it, and insert that object information into a 4D document manually. Woof. Well, now you can simply copy portions of your 4D View Pro document and insert them into other 4D View Pro documents with these commands: VP move cells, VP copied object, and VP paste from object. So that's it for the 4D View Pro section. Does anybody have any questions about anything I've covered thus far? Let's keep rolling. And someone alluded to it during one of their questions, and now is the time to talk about it. I don't know if you've seen the blog post, but if you haven't, shame on you. But also you're here, so that's great. And I'll talk a little bit more about it. So here at 4D, we love feature releases and would love all of our developers to develop and deploy with them. One main reason that we hear from our developers that don't use feature releases in deployment is that if there is a major issue in deployment of a certain feature release, they need to wait 3 months to get a fix. Well, that excuse is no longer valid because starting from 4D v19 R4, there will be hotfixes for the feature releases as well. So this should allow 4D developers to deliver to their customers faster and increase the adoption rate of the feature release even more. Now, how will this work, right? Say we deliver R4 in April. R4 hotfix 19, version 19, R4 hotfix 1 will be delivered in May, and 19 R4 hotfix 2 will be delivered in June, and 19 R5 will be delivered in July. And in August, we will deliver, well, you guessed it, 19 R5 hotfix 1 in August. So, and don't worry, the cycle for feature releases as well as the LTS versions will not change. I may stop here and ask if anybody has any questions.
Yeah, although you said it quite clear, I guess.
It's all good. Any question? And if I'm not the type of person that asks questions right off I like to let it think and then ask the question. So if you're like me, feel free to reach out to the forum.
Yeah.
And we'll definitely get back to you. Sometimes it's got to marinate.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's one question in the
I
QR
think that's a
section.
little off. This is a little off topic.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be. Feel free to ask.
But for the info for the
In the-
ODBC Pro is not supported anymore since starting from v19 version. So
Yeah, it's officially not supported.
Yeah.
So
I have a customer with more than 30 users and have to replace the client every time there's a new release. Is there a simple solution for this? Check with either your account manager or on the forum. It's a little bit off topic here. We have to know much more of your environment to be able to answer that kind of question. Should be very simple, I guess.
yeah, we can definitely help you. The thing is, we don't know who's actually asking the question.
Oh, yeah.
Because the name is it's a kind of a common name in English. So it's not a unique name, let's be honest. So if you can let us know who's actually asking the question.
Yeah, and I see that the community is already here for help. So it's the kind of question that is also interesting to ask on the forum, to share experiences.
Okay, cool. And if any other questions come up, feel free, but I'm gonna keep it going. And so let's keep this party going. And so I'd like to cordially invite you to attend 2 key live training sessions in May and June with Thomas Mull, our head of strategy at 4D. The first one will be a 2-part 60-minute session each on the benefits of working with 4D and Git. And Thomas will share his own experience as a 4D developer now working in project mode with Git. Now, the second one, also with Thomas Mull, will detail all of the benefits of using classes in 4D. Don't miss these 2 sessions and stay tuned. Other live training sessions will be unveiled soon. And last but not least, in case you've missed any of the live training sessions, they are all available for you now on the 4D store. Thanks to the on-demand format, you can learn at your own pace. You can learn at your own pace. Sorry. The latest added topics are the 6 World Tour trainings available as independent sessions. So don't wait to increase your skills in 4D. And I gave a quick plug for this at the beginning. Someone asked about the relations and the best practices for relation names. Well, that is in one of the on-demand trainings. Take Care of the Query by Olivier Deschanel. And to learn more about all of these features and more, I invite you to visit the blog, read the blog, be a blog reader. I am. I got all of my information from the blog and asking questions and playing. And yeah, it's a great jumping off point to learn exactly what's going on, to figure out what's going on with 4D and how you can use these new things to make your applications easier and better. So any other questions?
I guess not. And it's 1 hour.
Right on time. Look at us.
Yeah. You're very good at this.
It's not my first webinar, but it was definitely a super fun one. I appreciate all of your questions, comments. For those of you who we weren't able to answer live, an account representative, your commercial account representative will get back to you. Mathieu and I will work with them on getting the appropriate, and Shaima will work with you on getting the appropriate answer. And if we don't have it, then we need to keep on talking and figure it out for you. So I just want to say thank you all. I appreciate it. Boom. Yeah, there we go. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate your time, your questions. It's really fun for us to show all of these new things to you and really showcase what we're doing. And yeah, if you do have any other things that come up, forum, discuss.4d.com, read all the tech notes at kb.4d.com at the knowledge base, learn about it, and I'll use all the how do I's on the blog. So thank you very much and take care, everybody.